What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions.
He said that in the very beginning there was nothing in the universe but peace, that this peace reached everywhere, and everyone was in peace with everyone else. And they talked to God, and God answered them in the voice of a small child, a very gentle child, not much older than themselves, because he was speaking to common people and not to great scholars. And they were all peaceful until along came Lucifer. And Lucifer was self-will, and by self-will fell the angels. And when Lucifer asked deity for certain privileges, he was a faithful cherub at that time, God spoke again in the voice of the little child and said what was necessary. And Lucifer said, "Oh no, I don't like this. I don't want to live in a universe that is ruled by a small child. And if the deity can't speak out the great and glorious words I want to hear, I'm going to take over the job." Remember, this is in Low Dutch in Germany. So he said, "I'm going to take over. I'm going to run the universe now." So he challenged deity. He said, "I'm not going to do these things. If you're just a puny little deity living in space without anything around you except a baby voice, I'm going to show you how to run this thing." And at the moment that he said that was the moment of the great disobedience. And in an instant, the heavens completely changed. Everything changed. The sky was filled with great spiritual powers. In the midst of them was seated or placed the ineffable deity, with all power, all splendor, all skills, and a thunder and rumbling voice that could be heard everywhere. And it is thus that the pride of Lucifer opened the abyss of the self, opened the world of sorrow and pain, because he had tried to take over the management of the universe, and because he could see no God until he disobeyed, and then the whole glory of heaven broke upon him. Now there's something about this, it's almost a beautiful myth or legend that can be carried right on down. For the man taking over the universe because God didn't seem big enough to handle the job.
Welcome out, everyone, all you great decoders around the world, wherever you are. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and today we're going to be breaking down and decoding Mr. Manly Palmer Hall, as he went by Manly P. Hall. That P is significant, being the 16th letter in the alphabet. And I'm going to be showing what that's tied to, perhaps why it was abbreviated for his professional name. Manly P. Hall Decoded. Folks, this one is going to give you a lot of new things to look at in your decoding. Those of you that are here because you're a fan of Manly P. Hall, those of you that are Masons that are here from, the fans of Manly P. Hall, welcome out. Welcome out, all you returning subscribers, those of you that are new, thanks for joining in. I'm about to show you some truth bombs I feel that you've never seen before when it comes to this guy. I'm going to break down his life a little bit and his, most famous book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put on a pair of headphones, get strapped in. I don't know how long this is going to be, but this one is going to drop some massive truth bombs on you. So here we go. So starting off with these categories, in the 0 position, we have the intro, which is kind of what you heard in the beginning, a little lecture or piece of lecture of Manly P. Hall, and the fall of man by way of Lucifer defying the God and disobeying the orders. And these stories, as he said at the very end, they're in the myths. And where do we go from there? But I'm going to show you how he's tied directly into Lucifer, which is why I decided to bring that piece in here. So that was the intro. Number 1, I'm going to break down Manly Palmer Hall. Number 2, his most famous book. Probably a lot of the reasons why some of you are here. The Secret Teachings of All Ages. Where did the secrets come from? Well, you're about to find out. Number 3, The Lost 100. Number 4, which I probably could have did on its own. This one is absolutely massive. It is serious. And how that's tied into Manly P. Hall. And then always love to hear what you see during these presentations. Keep your comments coming. Keep them cordial. You may not agree with everything I say. These are my opinions and truths, subject to change as I continue to research. But, what did you see? Love to hear your comments. So let's get into the first topic, of course, breaking down Mr. Hall and what he was all about. So I wanted to just start off with breaking down his numerology. And you're going to see during this presentation, as I most often do, using and trying to keep it in the Chaldean family only. I feel like this is the top dog cipher. And it's the closest to the source you're going to get. So therefore, this is the one that I exclusively like to use. A lot of you decoders as well. I know that Manly P. Hall in The Secret Teachings of All Ages was talking about the full reduction, otherwise known as the Pythagorean system or a Pythagoras system. But nonetheless, I feel the Chaldean is going to give you better results closer to the source. That's just my opinion, by the way. But notice it's the number 49, and I'm going to come back to that because that 49 is freaking huge. It's going to reduce down to the number 4, which is going to tie down into the cube, the box, the square, Pandora's box, which is what we're all playing out. But let's keep going with this. I want to just touch on his birthday. Show you how this guy, Manly P. Hall, was being used. Just like I'm being used, just like you're being used, just like all the other people and organizations on the world stage, they're doing their job. You may not like some of these jobs or responsibilities these people are doing, but it's antagonist, protagonist. Noticing that he was born on March 18th, Manly P. Hall was, and this is another way you can decode from. Some of you are born with dual numbers on the calendar because of the leap and common year. I showed how significant pi was, and his is no exception because March 18th is the 77th day in the common year. It's the 78th day in the leap year. And if you add those two up, you're going to get the number 155 right off the bat. Bam! It's tied to pi. And when we see pi, we know it means the perfect circle. The perfect circle is directly linked to Earth, and it should tell you loud and clear going down into the hole and becoming man. And, if you go back to the 49, the words down in a hole equal 49. I'm going to be showing that. But right off the bat, you can see the connecting point Manly P. Hall has to pi itself. Pure mathematics right there. And the Gregorian calendar. Doesn't matter what calendar you use. They're all going to encroach on one another. How about his birth card? Very significant. He's got the 5 of diamonds card number 31. The 5, the 5 is man. It's right here. The pentagram. This is why Washington, D.C.'s got the Pentagon. It's man. It's the architect coming down and becoming man. And 5, if you like astrology, is going to be tied to the house of Leo, which is the pride. And the fall of man is due to the pride of Lucifer. And it's tied to the sun that rules over the 5th house. But this card right here, the 5 of diamonds, is going to lead to many rabbit holes. One of them is going to lead to the tarot and the counterpart to the cards of illumination. Those of you that are new, just realize that these cards, a typical deck of playing cards, 52 of them matching the 52 weeks of the year, these, according to my research, came first, and then the tarot cards came after. So these are the cousin cards or sister or brother card deck of the cards of illumination. And they both have their own merit in saying everything, but the 5 of diamonds is the 5 of pentacles, which is card number 69. I want to be really transparent going to the tarot cards. Here's the natural lineages of the tarot with the Fool in the 0 and the 22nd position. There are several ways to look at these cards, but nonetheless, this is a very popular way to look at the tarot, with the Fool being 0 and 22. And the 5 of Pentacles is right down here. I've got them all numbered. Here it is, card number 69. Now, I just want to digress. If you want these graphics, just send me an email and I'll send them to you. decodeyourreality@gmail.com. So there's the card number 69. And 69, of course, is the yin yang. And there it is. The yin yang inside the circle of pi. And it just spins. And that yin-yang is going to give you a lot of other layers to look from: dark and light, angel and demon, good cop, bad cop, antagonist, protagonist, down here in duality, as you go down into the hole and become man or woman. And it's hard times when you get down here. That's what the tarot says. It's not going to have the same meaning in the cards of illumination, but nonetheless, the 5 of diamonds goes into the 5 of pentacles. It's hard times. Debilitation. What do you think this whole game of life's all about? You may start off with a lovely life, but eventually as you move through time, the devil is time, Satan is time, because you only have so much time, and time decays you, but you become battered, suffering, and all this other things that go on down here in the game of life. So, I mean, I'm not saying that Manly P. Hall is the poster child of suffering and debilitation, but you could see how he's tied into pi, and pi's going down into the hole, becoming man, which is 5. And when you become man or woman, the game of life starts, and there's suffering that's going to have to happen. And the fallen angel story, the fall of man, is that when you leave the spirit and you come down and become man and you achieve man and become physical man, you now have to die. You have to face a death. And that involves suffering. So let's keep going. So the 31 that is tied to Manly P. Hall's birth card is also tied to the Egyptian name of the star Sirius. This is a big time truth bomb I'm dropping on you, all of you, right now. This is a big deal situation, because Sirius has so much to say about our reality. I wish I would have come out with this information a lot longer ago, especially for my own benefit and research. But as fate would have it, here I am doing it now. And you see, the word that the Egyptians called Sirius is called soap debt. Something along that lines of that pronunciation. There it is. And what is pi? 3.14, but it's got the 3.1 there. And this soap debt is tied to this element right here, sulfur. They both start with the letter S, which is the 19th letter. It's going to lead into the word sun, and Sirius is a sun. And sulfur has an average weight of 32.06, but its most abundant, its most dominant is 31.972, and the connecting point of soap debt and Sirius is inside this element, sulfur, with the protons and the atomic weight, 16 and 31. And there you have the 16 and 31. And it's taught. And so where did Manly P. Hall get his information from? Where did he come from? How did he get to a high level of, the Mason ladder? What is this all about here? Well, it leads to Sirius. And, obviously it leads to the Christ because Jesus said he's the root and offspring of David. So where do you think Jesus Christ came from? If he was a real guy, I'm not going to debate that. But the idea? Well, obviously it's pointing now towards Sirius. And if Jesus is the sun that comes up every day, that's the way it is, or the moon, well, the offspring is the sun and the moon. We know that through the whole breaking down of our reality, but he says he's the root and offspring of David. David's 16 tied to Sirius, directly in the same cipher, not even moving away from this cipher. And the Egyptians called it Sopdet. And there's all the connecting points, and Manly P. Hall's connected directly to it through his birth card. How about his 18 now? Let's break down the 18. Now, there are 18 layers in the periodic table, or rows. There's very special, that 18. Hydrogen is 1.008. Hydrogen is water. Water is 18. Christ is 18. Jesus is 18. But Manly P. Hall is connected to this element right here called argon, one half of the Ark of the Covenant, because the 19th element is potassium, which is the abbreviation of K. It's going to spell the word ark, and 18 and 19 in the tarot is the sun and the moon. The moon is the 18th card. So, I did a decode on Prison Planet. Here it is, right here. I did a decode on this. If you haven't checked this out, please do so, but I clearly showed, and there's the down in the hole tied to Manly P. Hall, tied to this element indium, and tied to hell, going down here at becoming man. The fallen angel story's in there, and we're all part of that fallen angel story. But did we come from the moon? In the Truman Show, Christof, who was ruling over the Truman Show itself, he was the director of the movie, and he lived on the moon. So do we reincarnate from the moon? Is the moon the portal? A lot of people think the moon and the sun are portals. Is the moon the portal to get here? The transmission of energy down in a hole. It's very interesting. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and there's a crab here, or a crayfish, or a lobster. And that's the fourth zodiac sign, which is tied to the square and cube. But let's keep going. When you get into argon and the spelling of it and breaking down the numerology, look at what number it is. It's 18. Jesus is 18. Christ is 18. Water is 18. And the moon runs the water, runs the tides. Jesus says he's going to get baptized and he'll clear you of your sins. And the moon god was called the sin, the god of sin. So it's clearly starting to make a lot more sense now. But then we have to throw in, Lucifer and being tied to this 18 and 19, because 19 potassium is going to be 39 as well. But, Lucifer in the original spelling now through the Aramaic, the only scripture from Isaiah 14 verses 12, it's the number 39, and there it is. So Lucifer's some way, some shape in this whole format of things, and obviously Lucifer's the fallen angel story. Going down in a hole. Is the moon the hole that y'all come down into? And in the medicine deck, using the 52 cards of the magical medicine deck, using animals, insects, reptiles, etc., the Lynx card is the keeper of secrets. Think about what this is saying right here. These were developed in 1988 by a group of Native Americans. I don't know if they were Manly P. Hall fans, but I don't know if they even knew he was born on March 18th, but the 18th card tied to the moon, this is what they felt like was the representation of the moon, the animal, the lynx. Starts with the letter L, which is what Lucifer starts with, but it's the keeper of secrets. And Manly P. Hall's got the secret teachings of all ages. And he's tied to the moon through his birth. Think about what I'm showing you here, folks. All these layers that people would have to sit down and conspire against all of us to try to mock you, try to screw people over. Is everybody in on the conspiracy? No, you see, folks, I've come to the conclusion that mankind's being used, and we're following a script, and this guy was no exception. He had a high-level script, of course, with his knowledge and where he went. I didn't know the guy, but I mean, born in 1901, that's 191, tied to osmium, the Wizard of Oz. There's so many more layers to this. So let's go back to this number 49 right here. And I already kind of gave it away, but it's down in a hole. So Manly P. Hall, I mean, did he incarnate from Sirius? Did he incarnate from another planet? A lot of people think that we come from different places of the universe. Well, this guy's tied into Sirius now. Okay, Sirius, and this is where my research is leading me towards. How big deal the Sirius is going to be. And 49 is tied to down in a hole, and it's tied to this element indium. And there's a lot of significance to that 114. But when we keep going, I want to show you the comedy. Now I'm going to get into some comedy. This is how ridiculously scripted this reality is. Here's a guy who played in the band Alice in Chains, or he still plays in the band Alice in Chains. He's the guitarist. His name Jerry. I've been following these guys since they first came out in the early 90s. Jerry Cantrell. And he's in the music business. Why am I showing you him? Because he's got the same freaking birthday, same exact day as Manly P. Hall, March 18th. How about that? Plays music. This guy was all about the occult. And he's in a band named Alice in Chains. What did Alice do? Alice went down in a hole, chasing after the rabbit, which is time. That's what it means. And that's the comedy. There's the album, Down in a Hole. I mean, even the album release date, August. I covered this Decode. If you haven't seen Down in a Hole, it's one of my better ones. Please check it out. And it came out on August 30th. 30th is the rabbit card, Down in a Hole. 30. Demiurge is 30. Jehovah's 30. Santa Claus going down the chimney is 30. It's just all the comedy of the architect. This reality it's a comedy section. It's a stand-up comedy, this architect. It's what it is. And when you go into the string of pi, this number 49 appears at the 57th and 58th decimal digits of pi. And if you've been paying attention, 57 and 58 is tied to the element nickel. And let me just be really transparent and go to that through the Royal Society of Chemistry. Here it is. It's nickel, and it's from the German word Kupfernickel, meaning devil's copper. Now you're going to get tied into Lucifer because Lucifer's 28 in numerology, but there's the 57 and 58. The most abundant atomic weight of nickel is 57.935, and it's going to round up and give you the 58. This is going to be isotope 58. So there's that 57 to 58, and it's tied to Down in a Hole, and it's not only tied to Manly P. Hall, but it's tied to Alice in Chains, Alice going down in the hole to chase the rabbit into time. And Jerry Cantrell, who wrote the song, has the same frickin' birthday as Manly P. Hall. What do you think the odds would be on that? Coincidence? Do you think that he was sitting down with Manly P. Hall to try to conspire against you and pull the woolly over your eyes? Come on, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just having fun with this. I'm not making fun of anybody, but this is how comical this whole reality is. It's all scripted. It's just all scripted, and there's just no other way to look around it. So again, I mean, he was born on the 77 and 78th day of the year. 77 plus 78 is 155. That's pi. Pi's going down into the hole. It's all right there, Manly P. Hall. So where did he come from? Where did Jerry Cantrell? Where did you come from? Where did I come from? We're all the offspring of the fallen angel. However that story looks, it's just all whisper down the lane, all this kind of stuff. So let's get into the second topic now, which is going to be a big one, the secret teachings of all ages. This is obviously his red carpet book. This is the book he's known for. And look, just the title, The Secret Teachings. So they're secret. It's the occult. Where does the occult come from? Well, we already went over this right here. It's from the moon, right? This is the links. So the secret teachings of all ages is tied to the moon. The moon's at night, and the moon is a portal. Is it a portal? I think it's a portal. However that looks, I showed the incarnation process in my prison planet. Check that one out. You can start to put them together. But secret teachings of all ages. Here's the big truth bomb. Bam! It's the 100. And I'm going to show you how it's tied to Lucifer. Let me narrate this for you. Secret teachings of all ages. The title of his book is the number 100. Where did the teachings come from? Well, it comes from the number 100. That number 100, putting it into pure mathematics, into the source code now, to tell you and give you a narration of what the source code's got to say, putting it into the string of pi. Here it is, going 100 digits into the string of pi, counting the 3 point, you get the number 471. And this is right out of his book, Secret Teachings of All Ages. Lucifer is represented by the number 741. I mean, am I stretching something here based upon using the 100 here? No, this is not. This is the source code, folks. So where did he get his information from? I mean, going into the element that drops the other truth bomb, just to summarize it all up here. Here's the nail in the coffin. It's the element lutetium, which has an atomic weight of 174. And it starts off with the abbreviation Lu, as in Lucifer, as in Lucy in the sky with diamonds. And this guy right here, in his book, says that Lucifer's number 741. There it is. Pure mathematics in the source code, coming from the science of numbers and numerology. It's the 100. That's right, it's the 100, and it goes right into this television show. And I showed this in many decodes now, not just this one, but I got to show it again. The merit this show has. This show that came out on the CW. You can watch it. I'm rewatching it again right now. It's on Netflix. So thanks to that platform for at least putting it out there. You can check it out and catch some nuggets. You can see how this fallen angel story is tied into this show and the secret teachings of all ages. Where did Manly P. Hall get his information from? And well, obviously it's tied to the light bringer, Lucifer, and the light bringer brings information. That's what light does. And it's tied into this show, the 100. I showed in my Prison Planet Decode how it's tied to this element, fermium, the 100th element. And that 256 bit tied into the computer system. But fermium is the 30. And there's that 30 tied into the rabbit card. Remember when Alice in Chains came out with this album right here? On August 30th, Down in a Hole. This was their song came out, Down in a Hole. Well, there it is right there, the 100, Down in a Hole. Folks, you can't miss this once you see it. This is how comical this reality is. And the 52 cards of the medicine deck, it's the mighty rabbit card. The rabbit can be also observed in Chinese astrology as well in that house. And it's tied into the word Alice in the English. Alice having to get small to chase the rabbit. Yeah, that's right. You come from a spiritual down to the physical. You got to get smaller and smaller. The fallen angel story talks about the giants and then becoming smaller and smaller. All the stories are in here, from children's books to fables to mythology to theology to astrology to alchemy to numerology. All the mystical art platforms all tie together they're all written in this source code, ladies and gentlemen. Even the word demiurge is a match to that Down in a Hole and fermium, the demiurge, meaning the God that runs duality. What runs duality? Well, Isaiah 45 verses 7 tells you it's the God of the Bible that runs the duality. I make good and make evil at the same time, or whatever you want to look at it. Isaiah 45 is Pandora's box. Came out with my Pandora's box and showed that. So right there, right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, secret teachings of all ages, now you know where it came from. Where is the secrets coming from? Coming from Lucifer. Has a big say in it anyway. A big say in it. And it's the 100 tied to the fallen angel. So Lucifer's tied to the fallen angel story. You can see how that is the case right here. And I got more to show you. How about the lady who wrote the books that inspired the show, The 100? It's Cass Morgan. She came out with her books on September 3rd. There's 4 dates here. They got published dates. You can add there's so many ways to look at this. But this girl right here, this lady right here, she actually was the inspiration for the show, The 100. Cass Morgan. And the books. And look at what it says. Liars, thieves, rebels, heroes. When you go and watch the 100, I mean, Earth's been hit with a radioactive bomb or something like that, and it's uninhabitable. And they're up in space for 100 years, and they send these prisoners down to Earth to make sure it's inhabitable. So they're disposable heroes, if you will. But Cass Morgan writes this book, The 100, and look at what her birthday card is, ladies and gentlemen. More comedy. It's July 21st. It's the 20th card in the deck. It's the 7 of clubs card. I just want to be really transparent. Here's the boilerplate chart for the cards of illumination. If you want this graphic, you can find it online. Just send me an email as well, Decode Your Reality. But let's look at her birthday, July, and then the 21st. Let me zoom in. Here it is. Here's row number 21. July is right there. It's the 7 clubs card for Cass Morgan. And the comedy about this is you see that 71, which is tied to the element lutetium, which I already showed, tied to the secret teachings of all ages, tied to the number 100 from the numerology of that, is the 20th prime number. 71 is the 20th prime number. So lutetium and calcium are directly in bed together, tied together through the prime. And this lady right here who wrote the number 100, the book, she's got the 20th card as her birth card. Say it isn't so. Yeah, that's right. It's right there. And you go right back up to the 100, and the 100 tied to Lucifer's number and the 71st element, Manly P. Hall's most famous work of all time, Secret Teachings of All Ages. So there you go. Now you know. It's tied to Lucifer, and Lucifer's tied to Sirius, and I'm going to show that as I move along during this presentation. Do you think this lady's trying to screw you over? Do you think she's trying to mock you? No, she's a freaking writer, man. Writes books. But yeah, here we are talking about how she's connected to Lucifer. Lucifer tied to the fallen angel story. She writes a book on the 100, which are all about liars, thieves, rebels, and heroes. And it gets made into a movie right there on the CW. How about that? See how it's all connected? And you get the rabbit and Alice in Chains and Alice and Down in a Hole. It's all right there. It's all right there. It's just you can't make it up. And so what about this 20? So she has the 20th card as her birth card, and it's tied to Lucifer because Lucifer's got the lutetium element number 71, and it's the 20th prime number. So lutetium and calcium are tied together. And when you go and look at your birthday, you see your birthday is something that's very special to you because that's the day you came into this world. Remember, incarnation, fallen angel story, the angel that came down to become man. You have your birthday, and birthday's 20, and it's tied to the element calcium. Calcium's got 20 protons. And when you get born into this world, you get born into duality. And, just to be really clear, because I know a lot of people would love to see this, but that's number 20. This is number 20. How about this one? That's number 20. So you think these people have any exceptions to how this reality works? No, you see, they're just doing their job. They're all under the guise of duality. Pawn equals 20. All in the same cipher. All of them. And 20 is the judgment card in the tarot. For those of you that are fans of the tarot, here's Lucifer spelling again, just to show you how crystal clear this is. Lucifer in Aramaic, the original spelling is 39. It's right there. Bam! Right there in calcium. And calcium is found in our bones and teeth. 99% of the body's calcium is contained in the bones and teeth. So I'm going to now show you the biggest truth bomb probably out of this entire presentation. And I'm going to show you how absolutely scripted this reality is. And it's going to be with Manly P. Hall. You see, Manly P. Hall was born to his parents, one, Louise Palmer Hall. She was a chiropractor, and his father, William, was a dentist, dealing with the bones, chiropractor, dealing with the teeth, dentist. And what did I just say? The body stores more than 99% of its calcium in the bones and teeth. And you mean to tell me that he writes a book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, which is the 100, which is tied to this show right here in this book series? And you go back up to The Secret Teachings of All Ages, which is the number 100, 100 being the 471 in the string of pi, and Manly P. Hall saying in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages, that Lucifer's number 741, and it's tied to this element right here, 71. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. This is absolutely ridiculous.
If you weren't convinced, I don't know what you would need to show you the script playing out and how mankind's being used. This is ridiculous. His mom was a chiropractor dealing with the bones, and his dad was a dentist dealing with the teeth, and that's where 99% of the calcium is stored. Calcium is tied to lutetium because 71 is the 20th prime number. Are you freaking kidding me? This is the stand-up comedian. Whatever created this reality, here it is. This is the script. This is written in the script. Manly P. Hall didn't have a choice. He may have liked it what he's doing, but he didn't have a choice. His parents didn't have a choice. And it's all right there in the source code. All of it. And this is undeniable. Unless you want to refute it. That's all good. Some of you want to refute this. So the 100, the show, we showed the book in Cass Morgan. The 100, it premiered on the 19th of March. 19 being the sun being tied to Sirius because they're in a binary system with one another. And it's tied to this card right here, the 4 of Diamonds, which is the 30th card in the deck. It's tied to the 4 of Pentacles. This card right here is all about holding on to something and not letting go, perhaps being stuck in the prism. Maybe whatever sent you down here doesn't want to let you leave, and you're in a prism called the prison. Think about what I'm showing you here, folks, using logic and common sense here. How comical this is. And then these words, Alice coming down in the hole, chasing the rabbit card, and then the demiurge ruling over that. The word Jehovah, the New Age name, is 30, folks, tied to zinc. And zinc is the comedy about the rooftop. And just go study the elements, just all comedy. I don't know any which way to look at it other than what I'm showing, the comedy and all this kind of stuff. So I decided to look at the 100th day of the year. There it is, April 10th. It's the 100th day of the year in the common year. And the 100th day of the year is the Jack of Diamonds card. And it's the Jack in the Box card. As I showed so many times, and it's in the time loop. It's in this loop right here, 19, 37, 46. And if you're new to this, you're just going to have to watch some more videos. Check out my Prison Planet Decoded, the first one, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. Those of you that are returning subscribers, again, thanks for your support. You know what this loop is. It's perhaps the loop that never lets you get out. 19, 37, 46. Or maybe if you do things right, you'll get out. 193746, which is going to link to Sirius. It's all right there. And, Jack in the Box, the founder, it's tied to this card. The fast food restaurant in the United States called Jack in the Box, and the founder of that is tied to this card right here. That's the comedy. It's Jack stuck in the box. If you start watching some of these shows on TV or series or whatever, you're going to start to see a hell of a lot of Jacks. A hell of a lot of them. And I mean, right there says it all. And remember, July 4th, the birthday of the United States. That's right. It's the Jack Diamonds. Think about what I'm showing you here. Mankind's not running this reality, folks. They're just not. We're just not doing that. And here's more support. The Jack of Diamonds on the 100th day of the year in the tarot becomes the Knight of Pentacles. Card number 75. Why this is significant? Because the original spelling of Lucifer in the full Hebrew, the full now, is the number 75. You see how it's undeniable, folks? So the 100, that's right, it's tied to Lucifer. And the story of that, the story that was written into the script. Now, was it real? I don't know. I wasn't there. None of us were there. But it was definitely written into the script because you're seeing the decoding of it right here. And it's the knight is the Jack's the knight that's got to go into battle. And if you watch this show, man, it was all about survival. As you come down and incarnate and become man, now you're in a different environment. It gets scary. Just way different. So let's now move into a little bit of an extension of that because I've got a lot of requests to decode the show Lost. So I've called this the Lost 100. I only have a few slides on this. And it's tied to Manly P. Hall because it's tied to the 100, which is tied to his secret teachings of all ages. Where did he get his information from? Tied to the fallen angel story, for sure. Tied to Lucifer, the light bringer, for sure. And this show Lost, a huge show, is tied to the 100. Lost, the show. What is Lost all about? They survive a plane crash, stranded on a mysterious island, almost very similar to the 100, coming down off the ark, inhabiting Earth. And what's really fascinating is Cass Morgan being tied to this first episode date of Lost, because here's her name, Cass Morgan, 9/22. And what was the first episode date of Lost? September 22nd, 9/22. These came out, in 2013. I mean, was she in the knowledge? Did she know? Because this came out in 2004. Did she know that it's September 22nd? Her name, she's sitting down with Chaldean numerology, or her publisher was, or, it's 9/22. So we're going to, we're going to make sure that, well, no, it couldn't even be that, because they would have to figure it out. She was born before this. So folks, there's so many ways to go, so many sideways ways to go on this, but it's obvious. You can see the code there. Lost is the 100. And, September 3rd and September 22nd, these two shows, if you take the 2 days, it's the 3/22. And the skull and bones are tied to the fallen angel story, obviously, and Lucifer, obviously. And that's also tied into the golden ratio, as I've shown so many times now, that the 1.61 golden ratio, which is found in the patterns of nature, when you multiply or add it twice, 1.61 plus 1.61 to give you a spiral, you're going to get 322. So that's just one nugget right there for all of you to expand on. And I showed this several times in other decodes, showing this again, how it's tied to the Lost 100. Lost is a show about stranded on a mysterious island. 100's about reestablishing Earth again. All tied to the fallen angel story, which is tied into theology, just tied into mythology. So many different ways to slice this down. So let's get into the last topic now, which I probably could have just did a standalone topic, and this is going to be probably the longest one, and this has everything to do with Manly P. Hall, because Sirius has everything to do with the 100, which is what his book title came to in numerology. It's the number 100. Before I get into the 100, I want to show you the tie-ins to this number 91. Now, I had to make this because Derek has on the gematrinator.com, he's using the old style Greek. This is the new alphabet Greek, so he doesn't have this up there now, but I had to rearrange these numbers. This is the finalized version of the Greek alphabet right here, 24 letters. Whereas if you go to the Gematrinator and you pull up the Greek, here it is, you're going to get 27. And they both have merit, right? So you can say, well, which one? Well, if you got to use both. And they'll connect, and I'm going to show you how to use both, because I'm going to be doing that during this last topic. But this is going off of the Greek alphabet that's finalized and the 24 letters. And Sirius, the original spelling in the Greek, is the number 91. Now follow me on this. 91 is tied to the word battery, but it's also tied to this element right here called protactinium. And protactinium means the first. So think about what I'm showing you. If Sirius is tied to protactinium and it means the first, it means that Sirius is the first, which would explain a lot about our reality and our origins and where possibly a lot of us came from. The mighty star Sirius. And then you got to get tied into Orion and Sa and the consort of Sirius, which is Sopdet and the Egyptian pantheons. But this protactinium, when you take the 90, and this is, I wouldn't even say this is advanced decoding, but if you take the protons and you add it to the atomic weight, get out your calculators, 91 and 231, you're going to get the number 322. Bam, right back to the skull and bones again. And, it's the eye in the sky. Alan Parsons' project drops a lot of truth bombs in his albums. He's got a lot of cards in there, the cards of illumination. But what is the eye in the sky? It's Sirius. Even the song that starts this album off is called, the very first song's called Sirius. And then song number 2 is Eye in the Sky. So what's the eye in the sky looking at you? Sirius. What's the eye in the sky that's running our minds? Well, it appears to be Sirius. And what is the eye in the sky running this organization right here? Well, it's not going to exchange anything and be anything different. it's going to be Sirius. You see, Sirius seems to be the controller of all of it. In my research, and I got more to show you. So look at the discovery date of Protactinium, 1913. And the word game master is a match to that. It's the 1319. It's a permutation of that, but you can clearly see that. And the game master leads to Lucifer, folks. If you watch the show Alice in Borderland, the card that they said was the game master was the 3 of clubs. That's card number 16. That's tied to Sirius and Lucifer. Okay, but there's the game master, Protactinium. Here are the tarot cards telling you what the game master means. The game master is a son of death. If you go study the star Sirius, it had a lot to do with the Helioc risings of the Nile. It made people crazy. It had a lot of destruction to it. The origins of Sirius. You got Sirius radio. Those of you that have that in your cars, satellite radio. Sirius in the Truman Show. I mean, it's the son of death. Of course, that's and supposedly it's in a binary system with our sun, forming the Vesica Piscis. So when you take this Protactinium and you break it down and you do the numerology of it, you get the number 46. Man, wait till you see the truth bombs I'm going to drop on you right now. 46 in the string of the golden ratio coming from the sun appears at the 70 and 71st decimal digit of pi. What is pi? 3.141. 70 plus 71, pretty simple math. That's 141. It's pi. We live on pi. Earth is pi. Coming from the golden ratio of nature. We make up pi through our emotions. Pi starts with the letter P. P is the 16th letter. The word Sirius equals 16. But how about this right here, ladies and gentlemen? You want more evidence, support for what I've been showing here and where Manly P. Hall got his information from? Sirius, Lucifer. It's right there. 70 and 71, right back to this 71st element, lutetium, Lucifer, Lucy in the sky with diamonds, tied to Protactinium. So it's all right there. You can't, and 91 is going to sit at level number 7, and I'm going to get more into that, just if you can remember that. I'm not going to show anything, but it's at the very top layer, the 7th chakra in the crown, and I'm going to be showing that in some upcoming decodes. How about in the string of pi itself? Well, then you get into the loop that I showed, 19, 37, 46. 46 is part of that. 46 is found at the digit 19 and 20. You add up 19 and 20, and you're going to go right back to Lucifer again, being 39 in the original spelling in the Aramaic/Hebrew. Right there. You can't miss this, folks. So where's Lucifer from? He's from Sirius. Is Lucifer our son, or is it Sirius? See, I've been saying all along, I shouldn't say all along, I've been saying for a while that Lucifer's the sun. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a star that has fallen from the star Sirius, starseed Sirius. Or maybe Lucifer's just Sirius. But there's the sun part of it. 46 appears at digit 19 and 20. 19 is the sun card. And then this 71 is tied to the 20. There's the 20, and 71 is the 20th prime number. It just keeps going back to the sun and Lucifer. And is this sun really just Sirius? Is Sirius it's in a binary system with our sun, supposedly. But Lucifer fits in there, as does the Christ. They all have to fit in here. They all have to be in cahoots together with this whole story. How about this truth bomb? Where does this guy get how can he predict shit? Matthew Groening was born on the 46th day of the year. Think about what I'm showing you right now. He was born on the 46th day of the year. Where do you think he's getting his information from to predict the future with these characters? Sirius, Lucifer. Same place Manly P. Hall gets the secret teachings of all ages from. How can it be any different? Well, now you know. I mean, why are these characters yellow? Because it's a representation of the sun. Pretty obvious. But how about that? I mean, this is undeniable to me. Now you know. With The Simpsons. Here's the tarot card, the 46 tarot card. It's the 10 of Cups, Happy Home, the 10, the X, the 10. And I mean, even Matthew is one of the four main apostles: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Matthew is, I believe, Aquarius, and Matthew's the tax collector. Aquarian age is collecting tax. It's time to pay up. We're moving into the reset. It's time to pay up now. Matthew's part of that. If you look and you see these apostles fit into Simpsons, and the creator of the Simpsons, Matthew's the tax collector. It's Aquarius, the water bear. It's time to pay up. And then you get the happy home. You know, we all want the happy home, but it's the 10, it's the X. The X is tied to the four fixed signs: ox, lion, eagle, man, which is going to tie to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those of you that like your theology, it's all connected together. And then it's connected to this card right here. And this is a big deal right here. A lot of you are going to be like rejoicing now because you found a huge nugget, and I'm about to drop it right now. But right here is the 10 of hearts. You see, this 10 of cups came from the 10 of hearts. 10 is the only number of its kind because it's the binary number, the androgynous 1 and 0. And it's this card right here. It has several birthdays attached to it. One of them is September 27th. And guess whose founding date was September 27th? This organization right here. Bam. So what do you think their logo means? Think it could be tied to Sirius? Fallen angel story? I mean, the Society of Jesus, if you go study them, beyond the scope of what everybody bashes them about and all the nasty, gnarly stuff, which I'm not going to debate. I'm not defending that. I'm not even going to get into that. But if you go research all the way back when they first started out, they were teaching in the mountains about angels and demons, saying that they were both down here. Good cop, bad cop is what they were teaching. Okay, so if you just use that right there and you start to put two and two together and you realize that the fallen angel story, you think there's just bad ones that came down here? You think there was good ones that came down here at the same time? I think the way the game works, it's both good and bad because that's what's down here. And it ties into the Society of Jesus and what they talk about. But obviously you can see, there's the tie-in right there. I mean, even the British Parliament is at 10 Downing Street. 10. Well, there you go. Tied to Protactinium. And the element means the first. It's tied to Alice falling down the hole and down in a hole, because if you look at the numerology of the 10 of cups, it's the 49, which is a match to the 10 of hearts, which is the 49, which is matched to down in a hole, which is 49. And remember, Manly Palmer Hall is a 49. So where do you think Manly Palmer Hall came from? Sirius. It just appears that way. Just through the 49. It's just all right there, ladies and gentlemen. So 46 from the numerology of Protactinium, tied from Sirius, ends up linking through into Palladium. And think about what I'm showing you here. Palladium is the Greek goddess of wisdom. Where does the secret teachings of all ages, what category does that fit into? Gnosis, wisdom. You see how it just all connects? All of this connects. And even the Masons, they call the great architect of the universe. Let me just those of you that, here you go, great architect of the universe. It's the 105, and it's the 105, tied to Protactinium. 91 means battery. Battery equals 91, or the 19. It's all tied to our DNA, how we got here, the fallen angel story, all that, all of it fits in here. Our origins and everything. So let's get into this and finish this series up and show you how it's tied into the 100 again, tied into the secret teachings of all ages. Here's the spelling of Sirius using the older style Greek. It's the 100. Sirius is 100. It's 91 using the New Age Greek with the 24 letters, right? With the 46, but it's the 100, which is tied to the television show and the book and Lost, the 100. 100 is a 48, and here's where the Titans come in, because the fallen angel story in the Greek mythology are the Titans, and it's titanium, Saturn's moon, Titan, and titanium, and there is the 22 and the 48. It's just all right there, ladies and gentlemen. And you see, Sirius starts with the letter S. In the Greek, it's going to be this right here through the Greek isopsophy, which came before the Greek numerology now. This is what they used a long time ago, according to my research. And the first letter of each word is called the cornerstone. This is the letter that directs the ship. It navigates. It's the starting point. And it has you can do it with your name, your first letter of each of your names, and you can figure out really what makes you a human being. But Sirius starts with this sigma. And look at what it is. It's 200. And those of you that are fans of theology, well, here's your time to shine, because it's the story of the 200 fallen angels. It's right there. And so, folks, is it too far-fetched to believe that, you see, 100 of them were good guys, 100 of them were bad guys? And you get the 200. And it's good and evil fighting against one another. I mean, look at 200 and 100. They're identical. They're both the number 48. And you get into the Watchers. A lot of you have seen me wear the Watcher t-shirt. Well, if you go study the Watchers in the book of Enoch, doesn't mean they're all bad. Some of them are good. Some work for the good team. So this angel and demon plays out its role here in this reality, in the fallen angel story from Sirius, talking about the secret teachings of all ages, showing you the occult knowledge, and listening to the discord by Manly P. Hall in the beginning of this, Lucifer and disobeying and all that, and how it's written into the script. And here's where the angel comes in, because 1 and 2 are both 17. So 100 is tied to Sirius, and then sigma, which is the first letter of Sirius, is the 200, and they're both the number 17, and it's the fallen angel story. You can't miss this. Can't miss it. The word Dios in Spanish is 17. So I decided to look up where the story of the 200 fallen angels comes into play, and it's Mount Hermon. Mount Hermon, the coordinates of Mount Hermon, look at what it is. Do I even need to say to any of you what this is showing and what it may mean? It's the 33, and 33 is tied to arsenic. Arsenic has an average atomic weight of 74. Lucifer's 74. 35 is tied to the simulation. Simulation equals 35. Universe equals 33. Simulation equals 35. And they're all written into the script. And the 200 stories of the fallen angels that came and landed down in Mount Hermon, it's tied to this element right here, Mercury. And this is where you're going to get your 201, because Mercury has a most abundant weight of 201. Now, I know a lot of people connect Society of Jesus to 201. I already showed you where they were connected to, not even using Mercury, but it's Mercury, and it's 80. And I showed this in my prison planet. I've shown Mercury many times, especially in my prison planet Decoded. How Mercury is one of the 3 main elements. And this is a really important deal. This is Quicksilver now. But when you take the string of the golden ratio and you bring in the digits where you're going to find the number 68, because when you add up 33 and 35, you're going to get the number 68. It's going to give you 69 as well as a bleed over. Numbers encroach, but 68 is the first number, and here's the 68 found in the string of the golden ratio. And look at what it adds up to. Coming down the hole and becoming man. Pi. Making a pi. Going from spirit to matter. Pi. Down to Mount Hermon. In the story that's written into the script. And then the big truth bomb right here. It's tied to us. That's why I have been saying it. Many of you, we are the fallen angels, folks. We are descendants of that. And this proves it. In the story of the script. And it's also in Japan, and this Mount Hermon is obviously in Asia. It's near the Far East, which is the land of the rising sun. Land of the rising sun is 71, which is Lucifer. But this is the big truth bomb. 68 occupies digits 24 and 25. There it is. 24, and you can count it. It's 24 and 25. And what's important about this, it's our freaking DNA. Because the 24th letter and the 25th letter is the X and Y, and this makes up our chromosomes. Chromosomes. Right there. And you can't miss this now, folks. Now you know. So, were there really entities that came down from Sirius, landed on Mount Hermon, and started mankind itself? I don't know. I wasn't there, but it's written in the story. It's written into the script. You can see it clear as day. This is all support for that. And Manly P. Hall is no exception. It's written into the script. He's tied to Sirius, where his book came from, his information. So let's talk a little bit about Sirius. We're getting to the end of this presentation. Thanks for sticking with me. Sirius straight up is a 16. It's tied to the element sulfur. Sulfur is one of the three main elements with Mercury and sodium. And it's in the starseed or in the constellation Canis Major, which is the dog. That's why Sirius is known as the dog star. Dog is the G-O-D spelled backwards. When the fallen angel story, if it was really true, when they came down here, you're now a dog. The mirror of the opposite of God. Whatever that looks like. And I'm just being very abstract with all of this. But notice, it's pretty crystal clear, Lucifer and the architect, the dog star. Canis Major, tied to Sirius. Sirius is right there in the chest. You can't miss it. Brightest star in the sky. Think about that. It's the brightest star in the sky. And it's in this constellation of the dog. And then what about the tarot? Because it has its say. The word fear equals 16, by the way. When you come down and become man, you become fearful, right? The 100, they're lost. But anyway, Sirius is 16. Here's the 16th card. Think about what I'm showing you here. This star is known to cause great havoc. It's the Tower. Look, this card is all about creating havoc. And this right here, to me, is a phallus, a penis, ejaculating and maybe giving birth to mankind. Sirius giving birth to this reality. It's just how I see it. There's the fallen angels again, jumping out. We're coming out from Sirius. And when you do the Tower, see, these cards, I like to use the Francis Bacon because I feel like they're in bed together, but they're capitalized. And so when you capitalize Francis Bacon, the only one of its kind, being able to use the numbers 1 through 52, capital letter and lowercase letter, but the Tower, all capital, is the 322, obviously leading to Skull and Bones again. And I've already showed that they're connected to Sirius, but when you do the rules of Francis Bacon and you take that 322 and you subtract the 52 until you get down to 52 or below, guess what card you're going to get? Wham! That's right, you're going to go right back to the 10 of Hearts, which is the birth card, the founding date of the Society of Jesus. And the Catholic Church. And so is the Catholic Church holding the sun up? Is that really the sun above our heads? Or is it Sirius, the dog star? Well, Sirius is 16 and the atom, which is made up, which is what light is made up of. And Lucifer's known as the light bringer. Well, Lucifer's number 741 right there. Can't miss it. Remember, Jesus said he's the offspring of David. David is 16. Is Jesus the offspring of Sirius? Is that really where all the angels come from? Is that where we're from? I don't know. Purely being abstract on this, but the atom tied to the photons and light, and Sirius being glowing or scorching. It's just all right there. It's all right there. Sirius and light a match as well. 16, same cipher again, folks. That's the power in the Chaldean. And I think I got 2 slides left. And then, 16, when you say that, is 28. It's direct match to 28. And here's a big truth bomb. And I never saw this before because I wasn't really researching Sirius, but look at what it says. The ancient Greeks observed that the appearance of Sirius as the morning star. How about that? So this put a big wrench in my research. May have canceled out a lot of the things that I thought were truth. If indeed Lucifer, the light bringer, is nothing other than Sirius, or from that starseed. Sirius. Because he's tied to the sun, but Sirius is the sun. Much bigger than ours, supposedly, but there's the connecting point, obviously. And Adam's the first man. You could phonetically spell it that way, but phonetically it's A-D-A-M, Adam. Adam and Eve. And there's Lucifer's numbers right there in the atom, 16, Sirius. It's just all right there in the 28. Can't miss it. And then last but not least, in the great movie, The Truman Show, which I broke down, a lot of you made that one of my most popular decodes. Thank you so very much. But what fell from the sky and what was written on that canister? Sirius. And goes right back to Alan Parsons' project, the great band Alan Parsons' project. Eye in the sky is 37. And, you know, the Royal Society of Chemistry does its job. And the icon they use for the 37th element, rubidium, is this electric eye. That's what they'll say it is, electric eye. So what's the electric eye? What's the eye in the sky? Is it the sun above our heads, or is it just the brightest star in the sky called Sirius? I don't know. Are you serious or not? Seriously? Think about how many times we use the word serious. Are you being serious? You know, phonetically it's the same, but it's just all linked to the mighty star Sirius. And we go back to that loop again. 1937, 46. Yeah, that's what we get right there. Woo! So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was my Manly Palmer Hall Decoded. I know a lot of it was on Sirius, but I couldn't help it because as you can see how it's tied into the 100, how it's tied into the Secret Teachings of All Ages, which is his most famous book, and him being down in a hole with the 49. So many syncs with this. Manly P. Hall, great guy. Love his work. Being used like everybody else. And he did his job. He did it well. Very well known in the communities of the secret societies. But as you can see, like I've showed, it's so many other ones. And this is not any detriment to anybody. Mankind's just being used, folks. And knowing what your code is and what you're doing here and what you're supposed to be doing, that's the big thing that everybody should be moving towards, in my opinion. So, but anyway, folks, what did you see during this presentation? I had a lot of content, a lot of truth bombs. I felt anyway, my truths, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and observations on this. And as I always say at the end of these, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan for Decode Your Reality. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later.